Welcome to Garage Orchestra 2.0. My name is Mrs. Nelson, and today we are going to be talking about the parts of an instrument. Let's start at the top of your instrument. This is called a scroll. It's called a scroll because it looks like a rolled up piece of paper or parchment. You don't see anything like this anymore, but a long time ago, luthiers, which are instrument makers, used to carve really cool things into the scroll. Below the scroll is the peg box. The peg box holds the pegs. This is a peg. You can see the top part of it is very skinny, and as you get closer to the part that you hold, it gets fatter. If you look on the peg box, some of the holes are really fat and some of the holes are very skinny. There is definitely a right way and a wrong way to put a peg into the peg box. If you put it in the fat hole, it goes right in. If you try and put it in a skinny hole, it doesn't fit. You're on the wrong side. Pegs are used to tighten or loosen the string to help find the right pitch. The string bass does not have pegs. It has what's called machine head. That's the metal mechanism right here that helps loosen and tighten the string. Below the peg box is the nut. The nut is a little black piece of wood that raises the strings up off the fingerboard just enough so that the strings can vibrate. This long black piece is called the fingerboard. That's where our fingers go to press down the strings. The back side of the fingerboard is called the neck. That's where our thumb would go. Let's look inside the instrument. As you can see, the cello is a hollow instrument. So is the violin, viola, and bass. You can see the glue, the bottom block, the top block, which holds the neck in place. And you can see that every single instrument has a sticker. The violin maker, called the luthier, puts a sticker in to tell when the instrument was made, what model it is, and maybe even what it's modeled after. The top and the sides of the instrument are very thin. I bet you're wondering why the inside and the outside of the instrument are different colors. The outside has been stained or varnished with a special color. If you look on the inside, you can actually see where the varnish dripped into the instrument. The holes in the front of the instrument are called the F holes. Have you ever tried talking or singing with your nose plugged? Hello. That's what your instrument would sound like if it didn't have F holes. Peek inside your instrument for just a second. I bet you're wondering what that little stick is. That's called the sound post. The sound post helps the vibrations travel around inside the instrument. This is called a bridge. The bridge sits on top of the cello and is held in place only by the strings. This one's held in place by Velcro. Same thing as the sound post. If your bridge falls over, don't try and glue it back together. It does not have any glue. The bridge does the same thing as the nut does. It holds the strings up off the fingerboard just enough so that they can vibrate and make beautiful music. This part of the instrument is called the tailpiece. It holds all of the tension from the ends of the string to the instrument itself. It's not connected by any glue either. Sometimes you might find fine tuners on the tailpiece. This one is missing too. The fine tuners are just like the pegs, except you only use them when you need to tune your instrument just a little bit. The pegs are used for when you want to tune it a lot. The cello has what's called an end pin. The end pin helps raise or lower the cello so it fits the person who's playing it. Depending on the size chair that you have and how tall you are, your end pin will need to be a different length. The end pin looks like this. The metal rod is stored inside the cello when it's not in use. Violins and violas have an end button. They don't have an end pin. What makes a string instrument a string instrument? The strings. Look really close. You can see that the string is not just one piece of metal. Pulled tight, it's actually a lot of different pieces of metal wound around each other. Check out your string up close and ask your teacher if they have a broken string that you can see. A long time ago, strings used to be made out of catgut, but don't worry, they're not made out of catgut anymore. The other end of the string has a little ball on it to fit into the tailpiece or the fine tuner. The violin, viola, cello, and bass are all considered bowed instruments because they have a bow. The bow can be made out of wood or other materials, and it has a lot of parts. The part that you hang on to right here is called the frog. Don't ask me why it's called the frog, because I don't know, and neither does anybody else. We're not sure what the history is behind the name of that part. The most important part of the bow is the bow hair. That's what you pull across the string to make your instrument sound. The hair is made out of horsehair. It is really important you don't touch the hair of the bow with your fingers because the hair will get all oily and dirty, and you don't want that to happen. To tighten and loosen the hair, we use the adjusting screw. Whenever you are not playing your instrument, your adjusting screw should be loose, but not too loose that the hair falls off. Just enough so that you still see a curve in the bow. If I tighten it too much, the bow looks like it's in pain because it's bending the wrong way. Don't do that. The wood part of the bow is called the stick. Sometimes we tap the string with the stick. That's called colegno. This part of the bow is called the tip. Down towards the frog, you might have metal wound around or a little black rubber grip thing. That's called the winding. That's to protect the wood from your fingers. The silver part is called the ferrule, and that's what holds the end of the hair into the frog. One other part of the instrument that you should know is the bout. The bout is the upper bout, the C bout, and the lower bout. That's the edge of the instrument where you would hold on to. My favorite part of the instrument is the purfling. The purfling is probably not marked in your book, but that's the little black line that goes all the way around your instrument. It's for decoration too. I thought that the purfling was just drawn on or painted on with a Sharpie or black paint, but actually the more expensive instruments, the luthiers that build the instruments, dig into the wood and then place an entirely different piece of wood in to make it decorative. Those are the parts of the instrument. Thanks for watching. This is Garage Orchestra 2.0, where classical meets YouTube and the lawnmower. See you next time.